Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Crypto City. I just want to take a moment to thank my team, Blue Moon, DJ Marcus, and Loudfire, and Kip. You know, I appreciate every week them coming in here and helping me get things done. Sometimes we have things going on behind the scenes. Blue is really great about keeping me on track and messaging me, keeping me on time for schedules and reminding me, if she needs things from me before the show. DJ Marcus is always in here making sure we get the best camera angles and really, making this look like a professional production when it comes out on YouTube. I couldn't be happier with the way the videos look. Everything's great. And Loudfire, of course, she's always here keeping the crowd under control and giving us a lot of laughs when we're stressed out. So thank you all. I appreciate my team so much. Thank you to all of you who come here every week. And, today I actually had a little tech mishap and I want to kind of share it with you guys because it's something that could happen to anyone in here. It was not necessarily something I did wrong. It was something that went wrong, and it went horribly wrong. So I had my domain, which I have bought through GoDaddy, and my email through GoDaddy. And I had Microsoft Office 365 for my nonprofit over in Microsoft. So no problem. Everything's run seamlessly for the last 9 years. All of a sudden, I can't get into my admin panel at Microsoft on the nonprofit side. So I went back and forth with them and they said, well, the reason this is happening is because your email is owned by GoDaddy. So every time you try to access the portal, it's sending you back over to GoDaddy's website. So you need to port your tenant over to Microsoft. So I said, okay, I went over to GoDaddy. They're like, blah, 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 sent me back to Microsoft. Microsoft sent me back to GoDaddy. This was about a week and a half ago. So went back and forth. I finally got both of them on the phone. I got Microsoft on the phone. I got GoDaddy on the phone. Help me get through this. And they both said, yep, it'll be simple. GoDaddy's going to put the tenant transport over. It's going to be about 3 days for you to change your mind. If you want to, you can come back. After that, we wash our hands of it. Microsoft's like, no problem. This is going to be simple. We'll get you over. Okay. 3 days went by. Everything was great. 7 days went by. Everything was great. Friday, I stopped getting emails. Over the weekend, I got no emails. Well, we don't ever not get emails at the nonprofit, even if they're junk mail. So I called them up first thing this morning. They weren't open yet because they're in California. So I put in a ticket and I wait. And the woman called me back after work today. I have been on with Microsoft for about 4 hours today. Went from one woman to another man to another man. This last man had me sobbing hysterically because all of my emails from May of 2023 on are now gone. No recovery possible. They're gone. And this is like sickening to me because this is my nonprofit. There's thousands of emails in there. People who've applied for financial aid, like all the applications for the last year. Like I've printed out copies up until the end of last year, but this year I haven't printed them out yet. It's only been a couple months, and all of that's gone. And I said, wait, I back up my data. I have my external drive. We'll just plug it in. No, apparently the new Microsoft Outlook has no caching involved with it. So it doesn't save anything. So even though we tried to pull the files from my external backup, attach them and upload them, nothing. It's still reverted back to 2023. So I now have to do some real, first I'm going to cry for a while once I'm over it. Then I'm going to have to go in there and I'm going to have to go back and try to retrace steps off of other things that I have, other documents and things, and try to track things down. It's just heartbreaking. And I obviously cannot go back to people who applied for financial aid for cancer treatment for their dog when their dog has passed and ask you, please resend me I can't. So some documents are officially gone. So this, I'm telling you guys, because this could happen to anyone. So you think your stuff is safe. You think your stuff is backed up. The reality is nothing is ever fully safe, even if you've got backups, even if you're in the cloud, and all of that stuff mattered not at all for me today. So just be safe. Anything that is truly that important, maybe print it out and keep it someplace safe, because if you need it, it could be gone tomorrow. So With that said, let's lighten the mood a little bit, and we're going to bring on our guest tonight. I have Marksverse from Immersell, who's going to come out here and talk about his product that basically is going to help with commerce in Metaverse. So I would like you all to please help me welcome Marksverse.
Hey.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
First of all, allow me to give you a cyber hug. I mean,
thank you.
I'm sorry to hear all that.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Such a day.
Yeah, I know. And really appreciative that you invited me here, giving us this opportunity to chat, and really appreciative that you are keeping the show, going on despite all this. So shout out to CityGirl. Yeah.
Thank you. Please grab a seat.
All right.
Make yourself comfortable.
All right. Very comfortable.
So, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. And actually, it's kind of funny. I didn't really know who you were until we did the Meta Music Conference with DJ Marcus just recently. And he made this special room for people to go in there and, show their businesses and promote what they're doing within the metaverse to help the metaverse grow. And I walked by your display and I was like, who's this? And I read through it and I was like, this is interesting. Let's bring this on. So first, let's talk about how did you get into the metaverse, and how long have you been here?
Well, first, I think I need to get out more, right? I mean, the fact that you just learned about me tells me something that I need to tweak and adjust. But yes, so it all started with my sort of metaverse journey as a whole. I think that journey started in the very beginning of 2022. My birthday is the last day of the year, and as a gift from my wife, she bought me a Quest 2 at the time.
Nice.
For my 2021 birthday, which is last year, so 2022. Anyways, that was also very close by when Meta just became Meta. Right? I remember that was such a big thing, and that was very interesting, right? In terms of where they're going next, what's their strategies and stuff like that. I watched Mark's whole event, and I couldn't shut up about it, at home. And that's sort of my wife's way to shut me up. It's like, here's a quest, go explore.
Ego, go away.
Yeah, exactly. Go dive in. So don't, just keep talking about it. So I put on the headset, just like many of us, for the first time, not knowing much of anything about the metaverse. But I guess I have a tiny bit of advantage there. I am from tech industry, so I am sort of tech comfortable or tech savvy going into it. I'm also a gamer, right? So actually, a lot of these factors end up helping me to sort of ideate and build the business to what it is today, but we will get into that a little bit. I'm a gamer, I'm tech savvy, so I'm just trying to learn about the metaverse. I hit different apps. Ultimately, I hit Horizon Worlds, right? One sort of striking factor that I realized at Horizon Worlds is, wow, this is so amazing. You can use these tools. Mind you, that was still 2022. We barely had any tools, right? But I was still, mind blown. You can use all these tools to create, mini games or worlds that some already did a very, very, very good job at that time. Again, even with the limited amount of tools. So that was my first impression. My second impression of this whole sort of social world building hangout experience is it is very difficult to find a purpose for people to rally around it, right? You have so many worlds, but a lot of them are blank. a lot of not blank. A lot of them doesn't have many people in it. It usually just like myself or me with one or two another world hopping, and then that's not even a group. You just kind of drop and separate from each other. You end up being on your own. How can we utilize this setup, this technology, this place for imagination better is sort of the question that I ask myself. Basically starting from college, I ran my own sort of small businesses, and I sort of earn my own college tuition kind of scenario. So I'm not a stranger to running businesses or creating businesses. And when I think about a place and a purpose, my brain sort of just go in a business direction, right? So I started to think, can this have business synergies? Can Metaverse have any sort of business synergies? And from then on, I sort of developed my my philosophies and slowly work towards where I am now and today, with a more described, more fleshed out business offering and setup, and also target audience and stuff like that, which I'm sure we'll get into. But in terms of how I started, where I was, that was the story. Yeah.
All right. So obviously you came in here, you liked it, you stayed, even though you were unsure of it at the beginning. So this kind of, drove you down the road to Immersell, and, or is it Immersell? How do you say it?
Yeah, it's Immersell, basically immersive selling. Okay.
Selling. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, the creative, immersive virtual worlds, so let's talk a little bit about, what, you kind of just told us a little bit about what drove you in that direction, but, talk about your early challenges and successes starting this, and how has your vision evolved now that technology has evolved and Horizon isn't quite the way that it was, and now there's VR chat, and also, what problem are you trying to ultimately solve in the metaverse?
Yeah, those are very good questions and very loaded questions. I'm gonna I'm gonna pick one to start. I think I will begin by saying, what problems am I solving today, or do I want to solve to using Immersell as a platform, work on this with all of you here. I think the primary factor is the primary question and consideration is, what would shopping look like in the future, right? Because we all know this could be one of the form factor or an earlier sort of predecessor of a form factor that we will ultimately all adopt in the future, right? Having a virtual world that has many connections to real life, but also in of its own has a significant amount of value, that you value this world and you value the relationship you built in this world. Maybe not as much, but at least close to that of the real life. We know this is the next generation of interaction, right? So how does that work in terms of shopping? First of all, if you look at the evolution of shopping and just like the history of commerce, right? First of all, you have the let's not even go to the let's not even go to the way back. Let's just start from Web 2, right? In Web 2, we have IRL shopping and we have e-commerce, right? That's like at the very beginning of of e-commerce shopping. Those are the ways you shop. But now, if you look at today, if you look at today, but pre-metaverse, pre-Web3, what's most prominent, even including right now, is the type of shopping that you get from TikTok, even from YouTube, right? YouTube, they may or may not have a direct sort of feature for you to buy stuff, but a lot of the introduction to a certain product or making you want to buy them, right?
Mhm.
That sort of building the product familiarity, building your desire is done
The marketing's
through
there.
the marketing
Mhm.
side of it is exactly, thank you, through entertainment.
Yes.
And, you know, as you scroll through TikTok, you see something interesting. As you watch YouTube, people, whether it's doing reviews on product and stuff like that. So basically, shopping goes from a mechanism, goes from, hey, I can buy stuff online to, hey, I want to buy stuff because it's fun, it's engaging, because I deeply understand a product. I deeply understand the company or the owner or the maker behind the product. Right, it's slowly shifting from this to that.
Mhm.
And now that we have Web3, this world, as I said before, it can be very colorful, it can be very creative, it can be it can include a lot of activities. So I see no better platform or avenue to dial that storytelling and to dial that context building and entertainment to the max when you are trying to sell a product. Because today, as I say, other than the basic necessities like groceries and stuff like that, you buy product because it brings you joy, right? It brings you entertainment, brings you into a community of that product owners. Right. And that is what I'm trying to solve and achieve by building metaverse presences of products and companies that people can use this as a marketing opportunity.
Okay.
And yeah. Go ahead. You were gonna say something?
No, well, I'm taking in what you're saying. And so are you actually creating these worlds for the say I wanted one. I came to you and I said, I want a world for my existing business. Are you creating the worlds? Are you also creating the avenues within the world for people to do commerce within?
Both and then some, actually. Right.
Okay.
I like to consider, and that is sort of how my company and products and services has evolved. I started off wanting to be sort of a design agency in the metaverse, because one thing that I already noticed, and maybe not enough people are talking about it or even doing, is that we have so many brilliant world builder and designers out there, right? They build crazy beautiful worlds, and they do, you know, statues out of like primitive shapes. If you're from Horizon Worlds, you know what I'm talking about. But one thing that I don't hear people talk about enough is to design this world with a very clear functionality, with a very clear purpose in mind, whether it's for getting people to learn about certain information, or to get people to maybe gaming is an outlier, but when people are designing games, I don't know how much they are focusing on the basics of game design, which is player pathing, which is game onboarding and stuff like that. Without those factors, it is actually not a fully functional world for whatever that purpose is, right? That calls people to come in, take a look around, and then just hop out, right? Once you think about player pathing, so any visitor can cover every single information or points of interest you want to present to them. Once you consider player onboarding, so they know how to live and breathe in this world, essentially, right? More than just walk around or jump around, right? There are features, there are functionality, there are interesting nooks and crannies you design for them. And finally, without those business critical features, this world has no real purpose, right? So I started off wanting to incorporate all these into a world design to make it actually functional for whatever purposes, my client may have, but primarily for business purposes, right? I started off there, but then I quickly realized something. I'm primarily based in Horizon Worlds, or at least I used to be. So in Horizon Worlds, again, as you Horizon Worldians, I don't Horizon World citizens residents would know that Horizon Worlds doesn't really have any external accesses to like the web or to outside worlds in general. It still kind of doesn't today, right?
Right.
So once I have solidified my philosophies, and because I know gaming, I know technology, I can design those worlds, I realize, hey, there is no purpose of these worlds, even if I gave it all these business relevant designs and functionality, because it is very localized. It does not connect out to outside worlds. So I developed a still probably one of its kind feature to enable businesses in Horizon Worlds to connect with outside world. Not necessarily because I wanted to, but A, because I can, and B, we really needed it for it to make sense, for it to be a business relevant world. And then I stopped there, right? I'm like, now it's got to be enough, right? But it is not, because Horizon World or Metaverse is still a very new form factor for people to do any marketing activities in. And a lot of the world owners or my clients, after receiving the world, receiving the design, receiving the functionalities from me, doesn't really know how to benefit very well from it. Like, although with these features designed, a lot of them still treats it as a digital billboard, if you will. It's there. You can come.
It's a 3D website.
You can exactly. It's a new website. You can hang out, and you can leave. Right. It is. They are not utilizing these worlds, and also not utilizing some of the more basic marketing concepts. For example, connecting online with offline, right? For example, this is treating it as a part of your marketing setup, instead of, hey, I'm now fully in the metaverse. I am metaverse all the way. I'm metaverse for life. Don't talk to me about real life. A lot of them are like that, essentially, or at least when they are in their headsets. So, they are not utilizing it to the maximum or to the effectiveness that I have designed it to be, right? So now I have included the sort of the world operations strategy piece to my service as well. So really, you can come to me with what you are looking for, and get a design, get a build, and get operational strategy from me to actually gain that ROI that any business owners would be looking for, which includes, for example, increasing social followings, actual monetary gain, increased fan loyalty, and things like that. Yeah.
So a little bit more of a full service marketing plan instead of just a world build. It's how to build that world into your entire logistics plan. So,
exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about, monetization and ownership in the metaverse. There's lots of people who are doing things in here, making some money off of, whether it's through the new Meta Creative programs, or some people are just bringing their businesses in here and actually monetizing that way. But you've definitely mentioned about the challenges with the platforms. All of us here know that Horizon has some limitations. And so that's why a lot of people come to to VR chat and, Cluster and some of the other places, because you do have more opportunities, especially even Spatial. Spatial has its own set of, quirks, but it does have a lot of, connection to the outside world. So, do you think that, the platforms are making it difficult for creators, in general, if they're not giving all these things out there for people to be able to really grow their business? But also, do you think that, for the people who are monetizing, do you think that they're being taken advantage of it all by, the greater, let's call it meta, the greater meta, doling out, all right, we're going to give you this, pittance for your work if you do this, how do you feel about that?
That is a great question. So it depends on how you look at this, right? Because of my the company and the services that I run and the perspectives that I have, I am definitely biased, which is I look at all these metaverse apps, platforms as a tool, right? They let you have the freedom, they let you have the ability to build crazy worlds like this, right? We are sitting, in the sky, surrounded by a futuristic city, and it's very on theme. It allows us to create visuals and venues like this for purposes such as marketing. Right. So I do think I operate slightly differently with people who are sort of living and breathing in those creator programs or somehow monetized in other ways that other platforms support. Right. I look at this as a tool, as a platform to for a more traditional purpose, which is marketing, which is promotion, which is fan engagement, right? And to that end, I think we are absolutely the owner of everything and anything we create here, because I always believe, and this might be related to my belief, which is this world's about how do you increase the value of your quote unquote life in the metaverse? The only way to do that is to make it having a stronger connection to the real life. Because guess what? No matter how advanced this thing is, at least in the next 100 years, we are never getting rid of our real life. Right?
You take the headset
right,
off
exactly.
at night, right?
I mean, until you can upload your consciousness into a cyborg or something, right? Into a robot.
That's coming.
Yes. Mark her words on it. That is coming.
It's coming.
But until that happens, the way how we make this world more valuable, make this life more interesting, is to have relations between here and the real life. And by doing marketings in the metaverse, you basically take any physical or digital product that, generally is in real life, but you explain it, you provided value, provided entertainment using this as a platform. So any gains you get out of participating in this activity would be yours and yours alone, whether you are the owner of the product / company or you are the buyer. Right? If as a buyer, if I feel the sense of community by purchasing this item, whatever it is, if I have gotten the entertainment that I was looking for, then that is value gain. So all that is ours and ours alone.
Okay.
That is my perspective. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about, virtual worlds in the future of business, because, even though it's already happening, commerce is happening in here, people are monetizing, people are bringing their full-fledged businesses in here and moving forward. Let's talk about the future of business in general in the metaverse. So what role do you think that like these Web3 worlds, NFTs, things that, NFTs could make a comeback and actually serve some purpose in here? Not that they're gone, but they've definitely taken a back seat to AI and everything else happening, and how do you, kind of scale your metaverse presence to evolve with that as it goes forward? I mean, you've mentioned engagement, which is huge because, the more people who are interested in what you're doing, the more people are going to keep coming back. It makes it a little bit easier for you to get your message out there. But, let's talk about the actual technology since you're on the tech side of it. What do you see changing in here? Do you see people being able to use, we can obviously Venmo and things like that, but we're doing that on our phone. Do you see that starting to come into here, that the actual, the actual interactions with, with currency?
Yeah, so a couple of things, right? I will touch on this from sort of different technology and different use cases perspective a little bit. First of all, let's cover AI because that is the buzzword right now, and that is sort of on people's mind always currently. Another very interesting reason why I kept going at doing what I'm doing right now in this Immersell in Metaverse is actually precisely because the advancement of AI does not compete with Metaverse; it enhances it like 100%. So, like, when you think about it, the very, very simple example, today, if you want a world, what do? Right? You go to people who are great designers, me, just kidding. And you go to people who knows how to do 3D modeling in Blender, in Unity, right? Or even in Unreal, depending on what platforms you have. Then you pay to get it, but also need to have consistent adjustment, maintenance, etc., which are highly technical work. There will come a time that you can just describe a world to AI and AI will be able to generate the whole 3D model for you exactly to spec of whatever platform you are trying to upload it to. Things are in this nature is already happening right now. There are models that can take prompts and generate fully playable 3D video games already, right? Yep. Although they are probably not commercialized, they are probably not sort of accessible to all, but
it is possible.
That is already possible. Like I'm telling you, it is possible. So the advancement of AI will definitely help with metaverse life. Another example would be something that I talk about quite a bit, which is AI agents, right? And AI agents is obviously another buzzword, but what that means for us, all the metaverse netizens, is that we can create our own AI agents with a full avatar going, and I think I stood up. A full avatar going and be our assistant at our worlds, right? Be our event promoter, be our host.
NPCs have become very human.
Exactly. And they are become very human. And guess what? With all these AI API like ChatGPT, Anthropic, Cloud, all these APIs available, this can already happen today. Like I can already hook an AI, conversational AI, into like the input-output audio of like a headset or a portal. And you can already talk to a character that has an AI behind it. Yes, it might take a bit more sort of setup and stuff like that. It might not yet be an activity you can just like bim bam boom and complete if you are non-super tech savvy. But again, it is
It's on
possible
its way.
already.
It's on its
Exactly.
way to become more commonplace.
Exactly. It is on its way to be, a few click of a button, then you have your
Mhm.
AI agent. So think about that. Think about how that's going to make your metaverse life more exciting, more useful, and more colorful. Right.
It's funny that you
So,
mentioned that because
uh-huh.
when you said about using, Chat GPT for these things and stuff, and you talked about being able to ask it to create a whole world. I actually am doing a project for someone else, and they were looking for a floor plan, a layout, and everything. And I was like, all right, well, I was like, I'm just going to check this out and see how it is. So I use Chat GPT like some people breathe air. Like Chat GPT is like my best friend. So I'm always feeding stuff into it. And so I said to the other day, like, this is what I need. And I put all the information in and I said, I need you to generate me blueprints for this on 3 levels, blah, blah, blah. And I gave it all the criteria. So it said, okay. It said, I'm going to take your logistics plan and I'm going to create this for you and I'll let you know when it's ready. And I was like, what do you mean you'll let me know when it's ready? Like, I thought it was just going to kick it out for me. And it was like, I'll get back to you. So I was like, well, do I just wait for this? And like, will you notify me? Oh, yes, I'll send you a notification as soon as. I was like, all right, then. So a couple days went by and I still didn't hear anything. I was like, ah, man, you know what? They pulled one over on me. They're not sending me. So I went back in and I said, hey, I'm still waiting for this. And it came back with these things take time. It'll be at least 2 days. If you need it faster than that, I will not be able to do it. But if you can give me 5 days, I can give you not only just this blueprint, but all these other things that will go in it. And I was like, really? I'm like, I'm going to wait the 5 days then. So I have 2 more days to wait and I'm going to see whether or not this comes through. But how incredible is that?
Let us
it'd be
know.
so cool.
Some of these models currently be able to do some things that I was describing would require a bit more focused training rather than ChatGPT. But yeah, I'm sure with a basic ChatGPT model, if you train it enough, just like the agent idea I was talking about, honestly, that is doable today. You can even ask ChatGPT how to set it up to connect itself to like a headset and stuff like that. Try that. If you're tech savvy, you might just be able to get it to work.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So stuff like that, right? So that's AI. Just 2 quick examples, but there are more examples. Think about another advantage that I hadn't yet talked about is why to have a presence in the metaverse, you basically built yourself a gold mine of data. Because in here, like imagine if you are a brick and mortar store, right? You want to know how layout A will work versus layout B, right? If you want traffic data, if you want heat map sort of data, you will need to have machine learning based on visual, right? You will need to have a lot of cameras up. You want to film the pathing of people. You want to study them. You want to study, all that, and then get down to the analyzation. And here it's 10 times or 100 times easier, right? You just put a recording, like using Horizon Worlds terms, you put a trigger at where you want to collect data. People walk by that trigger, the counter just keeps on going. It is a data gold mine. And then with AI, you can analyze that data and make data-driven decisions on your world's design, right? And which you can update at near zero cost. You don't have to tear down a brick and mortar store to update your, store design. So a lot of things are very interesting, and data-driven design is also something that I have not yet heard people talking about, which is definitely in my future plans, right? And right, so touching a little bit on AI. Now let's switch to NFTs. Right, NFTs, we all know, and we are at Crypto City after all. So if you don't know what NFT is, I guess please get the hell out of here. Just kidding.
We'll have summer school for you.
Exactly. She will sponsor it, right? And so NFTs is another interesting thing, and I'm not going to touch on the sort of the most popular definition or use case of it, which there is probably very little, right now. I'm going to touch on a protocol based on NFTs is called POAP, Proof of Attendance Protocol. Yeah.
We issue them after every show.
There you go. So if you're a frequent attendee, you already know. But like for those who doesn't know what that is, it's basically a token that's on the chain, which means it is undoctorable, right? It is public knowledge, and it's also final knowledge that you been there, done that. You did something. You attended something. And a lot of people might be like, hey, so what, right? The beauty of it is you can query that information and then use that as a gating factor of something else. If you've been to this particular talk show, you can come to my backstage event, right? If you did this thing with this community together, then you belong to this exclusive community, which has access to X, Y, and Z, right? So that is very native to the whole Metaverse slash Web3 community. And that is how you build exclusive groups and communities where people recognize each other, people feel they are valued, hence the value of life in the metaverse, right? And from there on, you can offer many exclusive opportunities to do exclusive things, including buying exclusive merch, which guess what? It's value to yourself, right? All these are very, very good opportunities to sort of utilize this platform, utilize this technology to create things that are otherwise either impossible or harder to do by any platforms, more popular platforms, Web2 platforms we have out there today. Yeah. So I guess I'm not exactly answering the question of my future plans, but I think this should be our, as a Metaverse business community's future plans.
All right. No, that's fair. So, one thing I want to touch on with you is, you talked earlier about, engaging with people and, making worlds and making commerce, all of it, just stuff that will bring people back. But let's talk about it from the other end of it. You collaborating with other people to work together on the back end of it. I mean, there's a lot of people in here. You're doing your thing. You're doing yours. Everybody's got their own little thing, but we see a lot of collaborations in here. And I love to see the community come together, whether it's multiple businesses coming together for, a virtual vendor fair, if it's, multiple businesses working together to make a huge event, that works well. You've got people, whether if you're an artist and you've got another person who's got a gallery, maybe you're able to put your artwork in that person's gallery, and here you go, you're both getting showcased at once. So, what's your thoughts on, how this can help the e-commerce grow as well by people collaborating together?
I think this is the only way to do it, right? I mean, as a business owner yourself, you are, and let me know if this is not true, but you are probably not good at everything, right?
I'm not good at everything.
Maybe you are. Maybe you are.
I'm not. Right? I wish I was.
Right. So, like for myself, I am a project manager by trade. So I'm really good at organizing stuff. I am tech savvy. I have this vision. But for example, I'm not a 3D modeler, right? I cannot go around and just like hop into Blender and just like build this world, right? That is not something that I can do. For example, and just do some shout outs while I'm at it, I guess. Peeps, you guys know Peeps, right? And she is this PR specialist, which
she's amazing.
Exactly. She is amazing. But PR specialist, you can find a dime a dozen out in the real world, but she is a PR specialist that understands Metaverse, That
Exactly.
I think probably she's the only one, right? Like the only one I've seen anyways, right? And another example is right now I am focusing on the music industry because I
Hmm.
think that is one industry that can really benefit from all these very colorful, very exciting fan engagement,
For
creating
sure.
hardcore fans, exactly, creating hardcore fans, which can turn into ultimately turn into profit for the artist, for the label companies, etc.
Hmm.
So, but guess what? I am not from the music world. I do enjoy music. I know exactly zero people in the music industry who are actually in it, right? So, people like DJ Marcus J, shout out to him.
Yep.
People like Gala Giant, who
Yeah.
is himself actually a very high power event host, but like producer in the background. So you
Hmm.
practically never see his name come up in the events that you go to, even if you went to his events, right? People like that are my avenues into the music industry. So, TLDR is I think that is the only way how you run business. And in fact, that is also the way how businesses are ran IRL,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like you have collaborations, you have contract deals with, vendors, collaborators, whatever, who, do what they are good at and you do what you are good at. If you're trying to bite off more than you can chew, you
Yeah.
might choke. Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a team, and not like you said, not everyone can do everything, and I think that there are definitely some people who do many things well but still can't do everything, and
Right.
so you do need people to work with you, and I think that picking and choosing who you work with is obviously going to be the key to your success or failure also, because there are lots of things to take into account when you go into work with somebody. But I do feel like in here, the community as a whole is very, centered around helping each other and watching this grow. I think probably because it's so early on. I mean, I know we've been in here, 6, 7 years, some people longer, but in general, this is still really new. And so I think we're so excited about watching this grow. 20 years from now, it won't be the same. 20 years from now, it'll be like, yep, just another person in the metaverse. But
Yep.
I think that right now, the excitement is still there. And this is the time to capitalize and work together with other people and make great things happen so that we can show that to the IRL world and have them be like, wow, I want to be part of that. So
I literally said what I'm about to say to a person today in the metaverse. I was like, look, the community is small enough. If you grow, we all grow. And I
mhm.
like stand behind that. Right. So yeah.
Absolutely. So let's talk about Immersell's vision for expanding in the metaverse. Is it starting? Do you feel that it's starting to fail because creators, are actually not building the way that they should be? They're focused too much on visual and not strategy. Do you think that you're going to help change that philosophy?
First of all, I certainly hope so. Secondly, I'm gonna take some shots, not at anyone in particular, but just like some observations, I guess. I feel like creators are not even getting the visuals down a lot of times. Not because they are not building beautiful worlds. Let me start by saying that. But it is because they are building worlds that look way too much like IRL, right?
Okay.
So one factor of driving engagement, driving fresh eyes onto this, grabbing attention, is that you are doing something different. You are doing something that people hasn't seen before. Obviously, you want it to be on brand. You want it to be on story. But I've seen way too many four walls and a roof built than necessary in the metaverse. Right? We could be floating in the air, right? We could be
Mhm.
swimming. We could be driving. We could be flying, right? Um, Having those creativities is only a part, but is also a big part because this is about visual, it is about aesthetics, to turn people's heads. And once you have those heads turned, once you have people interested in what you have going on, then you will have an opportunity to use the setups in the world to help you grab their attention, to help you retain them, and to help you try to earn the ability of them coming back for more and more. Right. So I feel like, we are in a cyber world where there are no physics rules, right? Capitalize on that. Secondly, but you are absolutely right in your initial question, which is strategy is so important. It is a lot of times, yes, doing it is already more than 50% of being successful or getting there, because this is so new. Anything you do is a net advantage versus the majority who are not doing it.
Sure.
But also the delivery is very important. Going back to my initial sort of observation and story, there are crazy worlds out there without clear purposes, without considering what your user, what your world's visitor is going to do, is going to feel, is going to interact with the world. A lot of it is like, check out my beautiful world. I put in so much, tear and sweat in building it. Check it out, right? While that is a complete valid thing to do, but if you are a business owner, you got to think one layer above. Right. You got to think the not only the strategy as in I invest in this, whether it's time, it's money, it's what have you. Now I want it to have a certain purpose for me. And how do I reach that purpose through the careful and clever design of this world and using all this world can offer, whether it's features, whether it's, what I just said about no physics, laws of physics, is needed to be a part of this strategy that needs to be considered. Yeah.
It's funny too, because from a non-business perspective, there are some builders out there who do a really good job at storytelling, which makes it much more, when it's immersive in a different way. When you go in there, you evoke a lot of feelings from your visitors. Matlow builds these worlds.
Yes.
I'm sure you've been to his worlds over there, but whether he's building a game world, because he does some really crazy games that are so much fun, or he's building a world that's like, a very serene, meditative world. The worlds, when you walk in, of course they're beautiful. The technology's great. The fact that he was building worlds that look like that over in Horizon before Trimesh and all of that, like his worlds were great.
Exactly.
But when you walked in, you felt something, whether you were at peace with what was around you or you were scared of the monster that was chasing you, whatever it was, you did have emotions from his worlds. And there's not a lot of people who are building on the regular that can generate that kind of emotion consistently. I think he's, very talented in that way, because he looks at stuff and he comes up with these crazy ideas, but when they're executed, they're actually super successful because of the visitor engagement and the way that you actually feel when you enter and when you leave with that memory. So it's actually pretty cool.
Absolutely. And to that point, I think I positioned myself at the cross section of a lot of these factors you were talking about. Am I the most brilliant world designers out there? Probably not. Am I the world's best storyteller out there? Probably not. Right. But like when you're combining all these together, you have a world that tells a great story, that worries about how people accept and learns about those information. And you also have a sound way for these people to navigate to your businesses, so you can ultimately benefit from this effort you're putting in, and willingly, right? You are not you cannot force anyone to do anything, right? You can only make that happen through a good enough introduction and good enough entertainment of what you represent and what you stand for. Yeah, and that's sort of
Absolutely.
where I want to dig deep and help the community with. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there we have it. Is there anything that you would like to leave us with that you have coming up, or anything that, like, if people want to get in touch with you to talk a little bit more about how you might be able to help them achieve, a nice e-commerce platform in here? We have your contact up on the board.
Yes.
But give us a little couple closing thoughts from you.
Yeah, well, first of all, I work primarily off of primarily off of Instagram. So, if anyone would like to just reach out and chat, very happy to do that. I'm usually quite responsive, and even if you're not you're not sure what you're looking for, or you're just looking for some quick advice, completely fine. Again, if you grow, we all grow. The second thing is, right now I am focused on building 1 to 2 full end-to-end business cases with music artists, right?
Nice.
So if you are such a music artist who is interested in what I'm talking about, or if you know someone who could be interested, please send them my way. I'm actually working with Gala Giant again, who is in the entertainment music industry, to identify these initial sort of seed music artists who will work with me and him in a longer term to experience to experiment on this music industry sort of revolution in our own lens, in our own way. So, but yeah, please reach out to myself or to him, actually, if you are interested or your friends are interested in this. I have been able to, in the past, I've been at this for this is the 5th year that I am working on this. In the past, I have been able to validate a lot of different components of my business, from the design to the engagement to yada yada, and including the system that would make it work in Horizon Worlds, all that. But because when I was telling you, I was keep adding on components to the businesses, because that is how I believe can ultimately make my customers successful, right? So I am now looking to build these business cases end to end, now that I do have an end to end sort of full package metaverse marketing service. So yeah, that is what I'm doing with music artists. So if you are interested, please, let's chat. Yeah.
All right, that sounds great. And yeah, definitely, we all love Gala here. He's been on a couple of times, and he has great events going on over there. Very entertaining.
He is amazing.
So I love to see the collaboration with you and him. That'll be very interesting to watch where that goes. So we appreciate you coming on tonight to share your story with us and to kind of give us a little insight into the e-commerce in the metaverse. So thank you for coming on and sharing. And I want to let everyone know that next week we're actually going to have our training week, and it will actually be with me, and I will be teaching you how to do a basic GPT for anybody in the audience, because we've had a few people ask about, I don't want to just use Chat GPT by asking questions like a glorified Google. I'd like to, make a little GPT that can work with me. So we're going to do a little demo of that next week. And so thank you all for being here tonight. And we will see you before we go, happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. I did forget about that. It is St. Patrick's Day, so I hope you all had a great one. If not, go get a green drink and enjoy your evening. And we will see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you all.
And